Everybody, thanks for tuning in to today's video. I wanted today's video to look at the weather that we may see, and I emphasise the word may, during the coming summer. Now, before I get on with the video, I just want to speak about the advertising that you see around the page. I'm affiliated with Amazon.co.uk, so if you would like to click on any of the product links that you see around the page of GabsWeatherVids.com, you're more than welcome to. That'll take you through to Amazon.co.uk, and you can buy any of those products from Amazon.co.uk. And even if you want to go to Amazon.co.uk and buy any products at all, you're not restricted to the products that you see on my site. You can go through to Amazon.co.uk and buy any product you want from my website, and Gabs Weather Vids will get the commission, so you'll be supporting GabsWeatherVids.com, as well as getting the product that you want. And Amazon, of course, will be getting the sale. Now, I've also got some interesting links here on the home page, and if you have a look down there, you can see that there are some interesting links down there. So if any of those links look interesting, click on those, and that will be helping to support GabsWeatherVids.com as well. Right then, getting on with the outlook for what we may see through the course of the summer, and I'm starting here with the latest charts from the Beijing Climate Centre. Now, the Beijing Climate Centre is linked to from my website, so go to the links tab at the bottom of this page, click on that and go through to the links page, and then you'll see the link for the Beijing Climate Centre, and go through to that. You'll be able to check these charts out for yourself. Now, what you're seeing here is the 500 millibar height anomaly prediction for the 3-monthly period, April to June this year, April to June 2012. And the 500 millibar height anomaly charts are what I really use to look at the prospects for the weather, because we interpret these 500 millibar height anomaly charts into where we may see areas of high pressure and low pressure, and then from those high pressure and low pressure interpretations we can decide whether the summer or whatever season we're looking at really is likely to be wet or dry, or whether it's likely to be cold or mild, depending on where these areas of high pressure and low pressure form. And we can see where the high pressure and low pressures are forming by these orange colours here. These are the above normal heights at 500 millibars. This indicates that we would probably be seeing high pressure here somewhere in the mid-Atlantic through the course of the 3-monthly period, April to June. And where we've got these rather deep blue colours, that's where we've got lower than normal heights, so that would imply we're seeing low pressure forming. I don't actually use the temperature and precipitation forecasts from these long-range models, because I don't think they're particularly reliable for any particular part of the globe. It's the models aren't really able to interpret the height anomaly charts and into where rain and above or below normal temperatures are likely to be. So I just really use these 500 millibar charts, and these are always quite interesting to have a look at. So this is for the 3-monthly period from April to June, and what the Beijing Climate Centre model is predicting for the next 3-monthly period, April to June, is that we're going to be above normal heights in the Atlantic. So that implies the high pressure does continue through much of the Atlantic. Near normal heights around the British Isles, so that could be a little bit more unsettled through April to June than we've been used to. Perhaps not the high pressure fest that we've been used to, really. That's near normal for height anomalies there. So as I say, that implies perhaps a bit of a fall in pressure actually to what we've been used to, but really the high pressure in the Atlantic is still dominating the scene, and that will probably be keeping a lot of dry weather going, particularly to the south. Now, as we move on into the next 3-monthly period, and this is for May to July, we see we've got above normal heights transferring to the north of the British Isles, so that would imply we get quite a bit of high pressure blocking perhaps around Iceland and maybe to the north of Scotland and perhaps through to Scandinavia as well. We could be developing a bit of a trough down here to the southwest, so the pressure has fallen in the Atlantic. We've probably lost that consistent ridge across southern parts of the country, and instead we've probably built a ridge up to the north of the country. We may be bringing a trough in around the Bay of Biscay. This could actually be quite a thundery situation. If we do develop a trough around Biscay, that would imply, particularly with a ridge to the northeast, that would imply a fair amount of Spanish plumes perhaps, and maybe quite a warm start to the summer with a fair amount of thundery weather maybe. But once we get through to the next period, it's completely different, because we go on to July to September and see the complete change that's taken place here in the Atlantic. This is a big turnaround. We've got a big trough there across Greenland and down into the Atlantic, and as I said, that's quite a big change from the earlier charts, these from the early summer period. The late summer period is completely different there, and that will be implying low pressure is very dominant in the Atlantic, and we'll probably be bringing in a lot of low pressure from the Atlantic. It will be pretty cool and wet, I think, if this anomaly was to come off. We've got high pressure up to the northeast of Scandinavia. That's a long way away. I think this low pressure, these below normal heights and the low pressure would be quite important here. It would be driving the weather, and it would certainly be a lot more unsettled in the late summer. So I think what the Beijing Climate Centre model is predicting here is that we're going to have quite a dry start to the summer, maybe quite a warm start to the summer. It could be quite thundery, in fact, but the second half of the summer, July to September, could see a big change, and we could see Atlantic weather really starting to drive the pattern. And if that came off, that would certainly help to alleviate the drought concerns, but it would mean a much more unsettled second half to the summer, and August and September in particular could be very unsettled indeed. So what will cause the summer to flip like that from quite a warm start to a very unsettled and cool end? Well, if we have a look at the Pacific precipitation anomaly, we can see that for the next 3 monthly period, April to July, we've got slightly above average precipitation forecast here across the equatorial Pacific from Peru out into the mid-Pacific. But if we look at the next chart, which is for July to September, so this is for the late summer period, we can see we've got a big anomaly there, a big precipitation anomaly stretching from Peru out into the middle of the Pacific. Now what this is implying is that we're going to be seeing El Nino developing through the summer, and I've done a video on this already. It does look as though we are going to see El Nino conditions developing through the course of this summer, and certainly I think what the Beijing model is looking at here is El Nino to develop through the course of the summer, and that El Nino will flip the pattern. So we'll lose the Atlantic high pressure that's been dominating for so long, and we'll eventually replace it with this big trough in the Atlantic. So this is going for a big switch around in the pattern through the course of this summer, and I think what's driving that pattern flip is the El Nino. Now let's just have a quick look at CFS to see what the CFS model is predicting. This is from NOAA in the United States. This is their long-range model, and we can see that the CFS model is predicting a weak El Nino. It's not predicting a strong El Nino, but it is predicting that we will see warmer waters developing into the Pacific regions where we have to look at for El Nino, and we can see this line here going into positive territory. Quite a bit of scatter there, but definitely the emphasis with these runs here is for El Nino to develop, and this is the ensemble mean for the CFS model, and we do see that the model is predicting that we'll see El Nino conditions developing. Weak El Nino conditions it's predicting at this stage, but that's quite a way off. And if we have a look at the 700 millibar anomaly charts that the CFS model is predicting through the course of this summer, this is for June, and we can see that really we've got very weak pressure here, no real signal. We've got perhaps a weak signal for low pressure to the west, a weak signal for high pressure. As we run through the charts, this is July, and then further on into August. Notice we're blocking high up here over Greenland, but nothing really is showing up here. It's not really got a signal through the summer, and again into September, perhaps a weak signal for high pressure. But the signal isn't strong from the CFS model. It's certainly not as strong as it is from the Beijing model. So CFS isn't really picking up on a strong pressure signal for this summer for the British Isles and for the Atlantic and into Europe. But it is certainly picking up on a signal maybe for an El Nino to develop, and that backs up what the Beijing model is predicting, the Beijing Climate Center model. That model is definitely going for an El Nino to develop this summer, and I think that the model is using that El Nino to flip the pattern through the course of this summer. So the Beijing model certainly at this stage wants to change the pattern from the Atlantic high that's been dominating for a long time. It wants to change that pattern, flip it around into a big trough in the Atlantic through the course of the summer, the late summer. So if the Beijing model is right, we'll have quite a warm start to the summer, maybe a little bit drier than average as well. But once we get to the second half of the summer, it wants to turn things around completely and give us a much more unsettled second half of the summer, with probably a wet August into September and becoming progressively cooler if that was to happen as well. So it's food for thought. These models are highly experimental. We have to take them with a pinch of salt, really. Don't take this too certain, and certainly don't start booking holidays around this. It's all speculation. It's just for fun, really. But the Beijing model wants to flip the pattern through the summer. That's it for now.